The EPA just announced on Thursday that it will allow a widely used pesticide that has been linked to learning disabilities to remain on the market for large agricultural use. Now, this is chloropyrifos. And in its order, the EPA said that the claims that this pesticide poses a risk to brain development, especially in children, is not supported by valid, complete, and reliable evidence. So that was the basically the reason that they allowed this on the market, because there's been a push for quite some time to get this off the market because of the danger to, of course, children. Now, chloropyrifos, also known by its trade name of Lorsban, is produced by Dow Chemical. Dow Chemical, of course, is a very large chemical company and very influential and spends millions of dollars lobbying politicians each year. Now, this Lorsban, and now I'm going to call it Lorsban from now on because it's easier to say, is used in nearly 100 countries, more than 50 different crops, including corn, soybeans, cranberries, and broccoli. So it's in a lot of food. In fact, residue of the chemical repeatedly turns up in nectarines, peaches, cucumbers, and other crops. So, yikes. Now, the EPA, under Wheeler, Andrew Wheeler, and also previously under Scott Pruitt, said, no, this is completely 100% safe. You guys are freaking out over nothing. We're going to make sure that you can continue to sell this pesticide. But of course, the claims of it being not very harmful, they're not true. Studies have shown that children exposed to organophosphate pesticides, such as Lorsban, have an increased risk of abnormal neurodevelopment, including persistent loss of intelligence and even behavior problems. Even low-dose exposure to organophosphates, particularly in the womb, has been found to harm brain development, leading to higher risk of disorders like autism. So now, again, I've been talking about some of the groups, or I mentioned some of the groups that are fighting against this, environmental groups, but you also have the American Academy of Pediatrics. So they got together with the Environmental Working Group and sent a joint letter to EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt when he was still there. He said that failing to remove chloropyrifos or Lorsban from the market puts all children at risk. Now, of course, we see the direction that the EPA has gone under the Trump administration. So now here's the thing. The findings, again, they're not new, nor has the controversy been at all a recent development. It was almost entirely banned for at-home use in the year 2000, so we've known for quite some time. And in November of 2015, the Obama administration proposed permanently banning it on food crops, citing these potential risks to human health. So now the Obama administration was working on that, but as soon as the Trump administration came into power, and you had the idea of cutting all regulations from former EPA administrator Scott Pruitt, he decided, no, we're going to reverse all of that work on banning this pesticide, and we're going to say full steam ahead. Go ahead. Oh, you want to use this pesticide that's linked to neurological disorders? Go ahead. You know what? Go forward. Go forth. Make as much profit as you can. And, if people are harmed in the process, well, who cares? Nobody cares. Now, Pruitt had signed an order soon after the administration got into power to allow for its continued use. Now, that, of course, that use defied the recommendation of EPA's own scientists. So now the administration says, well, yeah, but they're under the Obama administration. And so the research they did, that's not true. We don't approve of their methods, fake news, etc. Great. Now, this led to a lot of outrage. So I want to give you a quote here from Patty Goldman, an attorney with Earth Justice, an environmental group that's represented a dozen organizations in an ongoing lawsuit against the EPA, said in a statement on Thursday that, quote, "It is a tragedy that this administration sides with corporations instead of children's health." That's a tragedy, but not at all surprising. She said, quote, by allowing lorsban or chlorpyrifos to stay in our fruits and vegetables, Trump's EPA is breaking the law and neglecting the overwhelming scientific evidence that this pesticide harm children's brains. So, you're saying the administration, the Trump administration, is ignoring overwhelming scientific evidence of something, that something is harmful. Where have we heard that before? Oh, right. Massive global climate change. This is something the Trump administration thinks is a hoax made from created by the Chinese to hurt American manufacturing. They don't believe in science. How much more evidence do you need? They don't believe in science. They don't believe in scientists. What they believe in is unlimited corporate profits. That's all they care about. So now another quote here from Tiffany Fink Haynes. She is the Pesticides and Pollinators Program Manager for Friends of the Earth. And she said the EPA's refusal to ban this lorsban ignores decades of science showing that this pesticide has irrevocable effects on human health and the environment. The EPA is endangering the lives of children to protect pesticide industry profits. Well, now, again, what did you expect from Scott Pruitt? And now, of course, Acting Director Andrew Wheeler. They have done exactly what they were hired to do. Dismantle these agencies, deregulate, and basically turn the EPA into the environmental profit agency. And there's a reason for that. In a statement on Thursday, the Natural Resources Defense Council highlighted the Trump administration's tie to Dow Chemical, who manufactures this chemical. In fact, they're the largest producer of chlorpyrifos in the United States. Among other things, they found the chemical manufacturing giant reportedly donated $1 million to Donald Trump's inauguration, and its CEO previously played a chief advisory role to the president, heading up his now defunct American Manufacturing Council. So you want to find out the reason? Well, you just got to follow the money. They don't give a damn about your kids because to them, it's profit that is always more important to them. So that, of course, is the corruption of the Trump administration, but not just the Trump administration, but also, look, the problems with having money in politics. I mean, you have these big corporations that can give these corrupt politicians, and Donald Trump is the epitome of the corrupt politician, but there are so many more. So many corrupt politicians get this money from these big corporations, and they end up making decisions like this. This just happens to be the most transparent. One good thing about Donald Trump is that he is so openly, brazenly corrupt that it's really, really hard not to be able to see it, to point it out. And this is one of those decisions, this is one of those instances where you can just point and say, hey, look, the CEO of Dow Chemical gave Trump $1 million for his inauguration campaign, and Donald Trump appoints a guy who literally deregulates that company and makes it so one of their biggest pesticides, which is linked to, brain damage, to continue to allow selling the thing that creates brain damage in children. I mean, it's unconscionable, it's unfathomable, the greed and the corruption and just the lack of humanity in this decision. And that's why, of course, we not only have to get Donald Trump out of office, obviously, but also get all the money out of politics and eliminate the corruption. If we don't, nothing's ever going to change, and we're going to continue to have these corrupt officials that are literally poisoning our children. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.